Hey my beautiful bitches, it's me, Fiona St. James, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Fiona's Coffee Talks. Again, thank you for tuning in advance, and don't forget to subscribe. So, this is the part 2 to the video that I did before on massage and the escort world. So, I just want to dive right into it because I have a handful of funny stories that I want to tell. So, if you remember in the first video, I said how my life was never in danger and, I've always had luck with that, knock on wood. That is true. But there was one situation where a friend of mine referred me to this client who was looking for a drag queen to go see him dressed as Marilyn Monroe. So she referred me to this client. I went there dressed in the 7-year itch dress, with this full-length zebra coat, completely done up as Marilyn, and the client was actually rather hot, but we technically didn't do anything. He obviously needed a therapist, so I was there, and we were just talking and didn't really do much of anything. I don't even remember getting fully undressed, but he obviously needed the company. So I'm there at the Waldorf Astoria, and an hour and a half later, so I'm done, I'm fully dressed, and I have this big wad of money in my purse. So, I thought to myself, wow, I just helped someone out. It was like I was playing the psychiatrist or something. So the funny part is, as I get to the lobby and I exit the elevator, the Waldorf Astoria has that really long hallway where the elevator was here. You had to walk a mile to get to the exit. So I'm strutting in my high heels, dressed as Marilyn, and I got this sense that someone was watching me or following me, and I happened to turn back, and there was a security guy with one of those coily things in his ears, basically walking towards me. So I continue walking, and then a few seconds later I look back, and he's still walking towards me. So I pick up my pace, he picked up his pace, then I picked it up even more, and then before I know it, I look back, and he's basically chasing me. So I start running, run bitch, run. And I don't know why I was running, because, maybe because I knew what I had just done, and, he was an obvious security guy, and I don't know why it was that I panicked, for lack of a better term. All I know was that I ran, and then I look back and he's chasing me out of the Waldorf Astoria, and I go running through the revolving door, and thank God there was a cab right there. So I jump in the cab and I'm like, go! And the cab actually takes off, and then we hit a red light. Well, this damn son of a bitch actually ran out the door and ran up to the cab, and at that precise moment the light turned green, and I was like, oh my Lord. And shit, I've been chased out of better places than the Waldorf Astoria, but it's, when I thought about it afterwards, I was like, that was kind of weird that happened, and weird that I reacted that way, because I could have just said, oh, I just did a show or whatever, but and to show you how brazen and ballsy I can be, when I was leaving the client's room, he was in town for 2 nights, so he asked me if I could come back the following night dressed the same exact way. And lo and behold, I did, because I was like, what's the worst that can happen? But going back the next night, I was so aware of, looking and making sure that someone with a coily ear, a coil in their ear, wasn't on the lookout for me. So that was kind of fun. And, and I ended up seeing that client for 5 years. And once a month I'd see him, and we never actually did anything, which was interesting, because he was hot as hell. And but he just really wanted my company to talk, and I guess he wanted to speak to Marilyn Monroe, so there you have it. Now, another funny situation was, there was one day that I had 3 back-to-back clients that all came to me. The first one I'd like to refer to as the Claw, because he was wearing these gloves, and it was obvious that his hands were a little deformed, for lack of a better term, and he never took his gloves off. And I'm there massaging the man, and of course sometimes there's mutual touching, and then all I could think was, oh my Lord, what's behind that glove? I got through it, but I was like, okay, thank God he was nice looking, he was sweet as apple pie. But then right after that, the following client I refer to as patches, because this man had a patch over his eye, and that one was actually kind of hot as hell. But I remember thinking the whole time, what's behind door number 1? And and he never took the patch off, and so it's interesting when you're with someone and they have something like that going on, because you know that, well, they're wearing the patch for a reason. But again, you got through it. I'm working professional. You got to let everyone feel like they're comfortable with you, and you can't react to anything like that. And then last but not least, he leaves, and client number 3 was someone who I refer to as Sybil, because I swear to God, while I was with this man, it seemed like the hour that we were together, he kept switching personalities, and I mean, they were all nice, mind you, but I kind of felt like I was at an orgy, even though it was just he and I. And this man was hot also. I'm not sure which personality I liked the best. I mean, they were all kind of nice, but so yes, even though like I've never had anything bad happen, I have had funny situations where stuff like that has happened, which to me it just adds character, makes me a stronger person. And last but not least, I did have this client once who told me on the phone that he had a prosthetic leg, and I was like, okay, well, that's fine. So of course, when he got to my apartment, before he got on the table, he took that part of his leg off, and it was basically from the knee down. So that was quite interesting. Like, that's the only time I've ever done that. But again, he was sweet, and it seems like clients that have things like that going on are sweeter and nicer. I mean, they all seem to be, but these guys are even a notch higher. But the funny part was, but a couple of times I'd look over, and there was his leg chilling out by the fridge. And at the end of it, without even thinking, I said to him, oh, can I give you a leg? And I was like, oh no, I mean hand. And like, we both laughed at it, and because what more can you do it? And that was just my, I guess the witty part of me coming out, and he wasn't offended by it or anything, but it was interesting. So yes, this work does come with certain situations that, you just got to chalk it up to, yeah, well, I can say I've done this, this, and that. And so, you take it all. And when all is said and done, they were all wonderful experiences, and they continue to. So I am fortunate in that regard that I get nice clients, and some stories can be a little funny or kind of out there, but you gotta laugh at it, because remember, life is too important to be taken seriously. So lighten up, guys. You know what? It's all good. And what's really good is coffee with Kahlua. So that is my 2 cents on massage and escorting. So those of you who are listening, tell me your stories. Let's have a dialogue. Have you had funny things like that happen? Have you ever felt like, like something's not right here with the client? And hopefully not, but and I think that more so happens if you are doing that, like picking up people on the street, which I never have. So, okay, I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Till the next time. Bye.